What's up, everybody? I'm Wyatt Bagnall.
Taylor Wallerstein.
And today we are doing our predictions for Week 2 of the NFL season. Going out of Week 1, I went 8-8. You guys all saw my picks last week. He went...
10-6.
Cool. So there we go. Honestly, I identified all the weird games, so I don't feel bad about the misses. Like, I understood where the stumbles might be. So I'm happy with that for Week 1.
And I'm just a gambler. I like taking risks.
There you go. So for Week 2, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to go through, and we're going to do all these picks. So before we get into that, hit like, hit subscribe, share this video. We'd love to hear if you agree with us. We'd love to hear if you disagree with us. And, with that being said, let's jump in and predict the Week 2 slate.
Let's do it.
So, Thursday night, the Minnesota Vikings go to Philadelphia and take on the Eagles. I'm going to take Philadelphia.
I'm going to take Philadelphia too. Minnesota, obviously, with their defense, kind of losing a couple of pieces. That makes me a little bit less optimistic to pick them. Didn't they match up last year, Week 2 as well, on a Thursday night game? Or
got their ass kicked in Philly.
Yeah, and they were a better team at that. The Vikings were a better team at that point. While I do think Philadelphia is starting to show a little bit of its age, as we talked about, yesterday, I do think that this is kind of an easier situation for Philadelphia.
I think this game's going to be closer.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I don't think Philly blows them out.
No, I don't think Philly blows them out either, but I do think that they win this by at least a touchdown.
Fair enough. On to the Sunday slate. Green Bay Packers go to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. This is one I struggled with also.
Okay.
Because I do believe Atlanta's a team that I've long said that I don't quite have a great grasp of going into the year because they have a wide range of outcomes.
Yeah.
I still feel that way.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you.
It's within the realm of possibility that Atlanta is just good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm going Green Bay as well. What I saw from the offense out of Green Bay, granted against a not great Bears defense, gave me a little bit more confidence.
That's the thing that I'm not so sure about.
I'm not.
Not to mention, we see this all the time from Week 1 games. A team shows up, plays great. They show up, play bad. Then the next week, it's literally completely different.
And that's...
So I have no idea exactly what I'm getting. I just know that Atlanta's going to be a team that I think for this week and next week, I'm going to be like, okay, I got to see a little more what they are.
I have a little bit tempered expectations for Atlanta. I still have tempered expectations for Green Bay, too. I'm not expecting this to be a top 10, top 5 offense in the league all of a sudden.
Yeah, it won't be.
But if I'm going to look at the kind of offenses I like to run, and I look at Atlanta's defense and Green Bay's defense, if you're running the ball as Atlanta, I think Green Bay has the defense to potentially kind of put a stick in the mud for that team.
I don't.
Really?
No, I don't think Green Bay is that good up front. I think Rashawn Gary is really good. I think Kenny Clark's really good.
Yeah.
Beyond that, Atlanta's O-line's really good. They got 2 strong backs. R.I.P. to Kyle Pitts, by the way. The dude graded out as the best tight end in the league last week. They just never threw to him. It's like, oh, Kyle, no!
It consistently bums me out.
I feel bad for the dude.
I like the guy, yeah.
I know. He's obviously talented.
He's a heck of an athlete. Yeah, it makes
I think
no sense.
I think that this is a game where he should be thrown to because Devondre Campbell and Quay Walker are not awesome coverage linebackers.
Yep.
Even though Quay Walker got a pick 6 last week, that's not always because you're like a great...
That's just Justin Fields.
I mean, it's a lot of things. He just didn't see him.
Yep.
Atlanta has a route to victory because a lot of teams that have played physical ball in the past have beaten the Packers.
That's true.
I just don't feel it with Ritter. I think the Falcons' defense is improved, and potentially if Jordan Love isn't careful, Jesse Bates can do some shit to him that he did to Bryce Young.
Absolutely.
But Jordan Love, even though this is his first time playing, he's not a rookie.
No.
And he at least is aware of more.
Yep.
I'll take Green Bay, but this is one where I don't feel awesome about it.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay more on a gut call kind of situation as I am fully believing in Green Bay.
Yeah.
But that being said, it really came down to, do I trust Jordan Love to just be a decent quarterback?
Yeah.
Or am I expecting Ritter to all of a sudden air it out?
I think depending on if Atlanta wins this game and if they win it, like
decidedly.
or just in a way where it's like, okay, all of a sudden they just stop the Packer offense, or they manage to out-physical their defense, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I'll start to believe in Atlanta a lot more if that's the case.
Yeah.
I just need one or two more games to really understand what I'm getting from Atlanta, because I really love their talent, but boy, do I not know what they're trying to do with it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you, and
I mean,
later in the year, I could end up picking Atlanta a lot more.
Right now it's weird.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't know what we have in Atlanta.
Yeah, I just don't know what their goal with some of their defenses.
No.
All right,
but I do like
exactly. So right now, I am reluctantly taking Green Bay.
I am gut call picking Green Bay. I could be wrong on this one.
All right. Up next, the Raiders go to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I think the Bills bounce back and beat the Raiders.
I think the Bills need this game to bounce back, and so that they absolutely come in a little bit angry, especially Josh Allen, who in his post-game press conference was talking about how it's all his fault. He's very upset.
Yep.
This is kind of the game that I think Buffalo can kind of reset those expectations, come back a little bit stronger.
Yep. I mean, they need it. I don't think the Raiders are all that good. I think it can't get much worse for the Bills than it did last week. And I don't know, man. The Jets' defense is better than the Raider defense. I think the Raiders are the type of defense that a lot of teams can just sort of get right against.
Yeah, except for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, but again. All right.
And the refs.
Yeah. All right. Up next, Baltimore goes to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. All offseason, I've been picking Baltimore to win this game. They're going to be down 2 offensive linemen, a free safety, and they're starting running back.
Does your opinion
I
change?
am going to take the Bengals based on the Ravens being injured after week fucking 1.
It does not surprise
Like,
does not surprise.
If the Ravens were healthy, I would have stuck to my guns
Sure.
and say that early in the year they beat the Bengals.
Sure.
But goddamn, man, you can't lose like 4 players, and we're just happy.
Yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
We're still the same team. I'm obviously going to pick Cincinnati. Big shocker there. My reasoning is obviously we are at a little bit of an advantage with not having to deal with injuries as early as Baltimore has.
You always
I make sure to knock on wood every time I say something that is potentially awful for me. So the good news is I think we're a little bit healthier already. Also, I think that after week 1, we start slow as a team every single season. It's at this point I've just come to accept it.
Until next season.
Until next season, we start 8-0 or something.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, until next season when you do the same thing, but you just predict that you start 1-0 again.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they're angry, they're motivated, there's going to be a sense of urgency coming off of a just absolutely abysmal loss to the Cleveland Browns.
It was maybe Joe Burrow's worst game ever.
It was his worst game in the NFL. He's never had a game under 100 passing yards.
And I'm not sure he will again.
And
that is a rare... unless you're going to tell me he's going to have one of those games like in Buffalo a couple years ago with the wind.
Yeah.
Then maybe everybody does.
Yeah, I think, you never know. But hopefully it is the last for a long time that we have a game under 100 passing yards.
Yeah.
I think that this is... I think in the same way that Buffalo needs Las Vegas, I think another division rival, which will help with that, loss to Cleveland Browns.
You don't want to go down.
We don't want to go down 0-2 in the division at the beginning of the year. Again, we have the benefit of being a little bit more healthier.
Both of the all the AFC North teams are playing each other this week,
which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will go ahead and give it to Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow is going to come out and pop, Baltimore in the
Trust me, guys, I would love to pick Baltimore because I think early in the season they're better, but goddamn, man.
It's already so
They lost their center, who was like the best center in the league last week.
Yeah.
Their free safety, Marcus Williams, is a good safety. You just don't want to be losing guys like that. And again, I won't be shocked if Cincinnati's still dragging their goddamn feet.
It's possible.
Because they've been popped in the mouth before and not shown any urgency out of it.
It's possible.
I just don't know.
I'm hoping that we're slowly growing as a team that we can. All right, let's not go 0-2 for the second.
Is Jamar Chase going to go and make fun of the Ravens logo then? Because maybe then I'll pick the Ravens. But
Ravens logo is not that bad. I'll let him.
We got beat by some birds. That's what he's going to say.
We got beat by some birds.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm excited to see Cincinnati football again, and hopefully it's winning football.
Baltimore, I'm rooting for you this week just because I just want to be able to laugh. But I think Cincinnati, with the injuries, overcomes them. Up next, the Seattle Seahawks go to Detroit to take on the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions, and I'm frankly not happy because I think you and I are going to be matching on too many picks.
Yeah, this is getting way too.
If we're matching on too many picks, I'll switch to picking Atlanta.
Works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the Lions too. It's more of a belief in the Lions. I do think that Seattle has a better game this week.
Tough to have a worse one.
It is tough to have a worse one against the Rams. But honestly, Detroit's defense has vastly improved, which is where I would kind of be worried last season if this was the matchup, which it was. I like what Detroit's doing. I am going to just keep riding that high. I have them doing very well this year, obviously.
Until I see a matchup where it's like, ooh, I just think that's probably a cut above.
Yes.
I'm going to lean Detroit.
Yes, and this is coming from the guy who literally had them over the Chiefs last week because I said fuck it. So personally,
Not for logic, but just because he said fuck it.
Not for logic, but because A, I hate the Chiefs. B, go Lions.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit more comfortable in the ballpark possible for Detroit. I feel like starting off 2-0 against a couple of former playoff teams from last year and the Super Bowl champions is a good start.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I'm gonna roll with Detroit until they are up against somebody that I can't roll with them with, or until they give me a reason to stop rolling with them.
Yeah, I think they're gonna win this. I think that their defense has improved, but I think the reason they're gonna win this game is their offense. I think their offense is going to round into a bit more shape. They've got one of the better lines in the league. Seattle's D line doesn't do much.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if Jahmyr Gibbs has a very good game.
Yeah. Not to mention, I don't really know. I think you probably rather want their rookie Devon Witherspoon, to try to go against Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tariq Woolen's big and fast, but we'll see how that goes. That'd be the only thing I watch for. If the Seattle secondary can match up, the Lions are going to have to ground and pound it, which they can. We'll just see. But I think Detroit's just better than Seattle is what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Chargers go to Tennessee to take on the Titans. This is another one that I don't feel comfortable with, but I'm going to take the Chargers.
Okay.
The Titans are the exact type of football team that the Chargers really do not like to play.
Yeah, seeing as Brandon
Basically
Staley's
meaning
defense.
they're a tough group of guys.
Yeah.
The Chargers are, other than Derwin James, not.
Not physical.
No. Derwin James is the only one where I'm like, okay, maybe he wants to tackle Derrick Henry, but nobody else does.
If he wants to.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody else wants to. But I'm going to take the Chargers because I do think they're more talented.
Yep.
And come on. They got to be able to beat the Titans. There's a difference between what the Dolphins offer in terms of attacking you than the Titans.
Yeah,
to beat the Titans, it's about effort.
Yeah, and I'm imagining that the Chargers will have at least some effort. I mean, it's Justin Herbert, and 34 points against the Miami Dolphins is not something to just ignore. Kellen Moore in the offense made that entire team look a lot more lively on that side of the ball.
Thank God.
The only problem is Brandon Staley's defense continues to look like
Dookie.
foosball players on NFL fields.
It's foosball season, baby.
Absolutely. And you want to know who runs through foosball players?
I think that is what we're gonna have to call just like bad players. They're not football players. They're foosball.
Foosball players.
Yeah.
I like that. Just run right through them. They spin around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one as well. However, this is one that I definitely am going to put a little check by to keep an eye on because if Derrick Henry starts rolling and the Chargers offense starts slow, that is a very dangerous combination.
The Titans can just... The Chargers are liable to get bullied at any time.
Absolutely.
And the Titans are also always live to do the bullying.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think, especially after last week, where they were very much in that game with New Orleans and could have won.
I mean, you got two teams that need a win. Probably the Chargers more than the Titans because their division's tougher.
Yep.
But
I'm gonna roll with the Chargers.
Logic in almost every way, but the spirit of the team would say the Chargers win.
Absolutely.
So I'm just gonna take that for now. But
logic will prevail in the early couple of weeks.
No, it actually does not.
True. When it comes to making picks,
Yeah.
logic typically prevails in the early weeks when it comes to picking. But as we get to know these teams a little bit better, we will see. So,
Yeah.
Chargers, you have a prove it test week 2 already.
Yeah.
Are you here to play, or are you here to just cash a bunch of paycheck?
Yeah. All right. Up next, battle of the bottom feeders: Chicago Bears at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't care that the Buccaneers won. I still don't think they're great.
Okay.
God. I guess I'm gonna take Tampa Bay because Chicago really didn't show me anything. But
We're totally gonna have the same record this week.
I know, and it's really just. I'm gonna go through and retroactively make some changes if that's what it is, just for the sake of parity. I mean, I don't know, man. At least the Buccaneers' defense is talented.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it comes down to, I guess.
And there is talent on the offensive side of the ball, even though Baker is
It's
hit or miss.
older and
Yeah.
injured and things like that. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay because they're at home, really.
Okay.
But this really is about which team just feels like being worse on the day.
Yeah. And where I come from is it's less of picking Tampa and it's more of picking Chicago to lose.
That's sort of where I'm at, where
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to show me some sign. I need some sign of life defensively because even if their offense is improving talent-wise, it's not good enough to, like, be the thing.
Yeah.
You got to stop somebody. And if you're going to stop anybody, Tampa Bay, you can probably stop them. But, God damn, do I not love either of those teams.
No, I feel like whoever shows up wanting the first overall pick more could potentially just...
Tampa Bay, that should be you, by the
should
way.
be Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay wants to be competitive, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is just interesting to me. But I'm giving it to Tampa Bay as well. They are at home. They're coming off of a win against a better Minnesota Vikings squad. I don't think that really means that they're good or anything.
I think that was more the Vikings being the Vikings.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. But if the Vikings are going to be the Vikings and Tampa is going to win, if the Bears come in and be the Bears, Tampa can win that even easier. So I will go ahead and give Tampa Bay the nod, but of course that means they will lose to Chicago.
Yeah. All right, up next, the Kansas City Chiefs go to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I think you and I finally differ.
I think this is where we differ.
I don't put it past Jacksonville, but by all indications, Chris Jones will be back, Travis Kelce will be back, and I think the Chiefs are fairly well pissed off.
Yeah.
Not putting it by the Jags. Weird things happen in Florida in September with that damn heat. And weird things happen in that Jacksonville stadium regardless.
Yeah, their mascot wearing Speedo's one of them.
Yeah, time to break it out for this game,
Absolutely,
dude.
yeah.
You hear me? If there was a moment, yeah, you need to be doing some little dance like right in Patrick Mahomes' eye line for this whole game.
Stand in front of the play clock.
Exactly. But I'm going to take Kansas City because I just feel like they're usually... I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing them going down 0-2 because they also understand the significance in their conference and their division of going down that way. And I think that they're just going to come in with a point to prove because this is the first time in a long time where people like sort of dogged on them for a week. So I'll take Kansas City.
If there's anything a Cincinnati Bengals fan can tell you, it's don't piss off Kansas City. But what I am going to go ahead and do is I'm going Jacksonville. I'm big on Trevor Lawrence, year 3. This is a very solid offense. Zay Jones is a great wide receiver too, apparently. Apparently, I mean...
Even though the guy, he wanted to be their wide receiver too, didn't do it.
But now that they have a legit wide receiver 1, apparently it's working. So I like Zay Jones. I think he's good. So they've got a solid offense. Calvin really did look pretty good.
They're good. That O-line is what I need to see hold up against Chris Jones.
And that's completely fair and is going to be a test for this team going up against Kansas City and Chris Jones.
I think they'll score, though.
I think they'll score. I think it's very possible Kansas City wins this game. I'm rolling with my guys.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm biased against the Chiefs.
I think this game is high scoring.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one for sure. Definitely one that I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Again, it could go either way.
Yeah.
But Travis Kelce, I'm assuming he's going to be back as well.
Yeah. How healthy he is, I don't know, but all indications are he seems to be headed towards playing week
Yes.
2.
So I'm under the impression that he is going to be playing. Chris Jones is obviously going to be back after ending the holdout.
Yeah.
So this is a better Kansas City team that almost beat the Lions last week. I'm not surprised if they end up pulling this one out.
No.
But I could see this being the 0-2 start. Kansas City starts off kind of weaker. Jacksonville pulls off this win.
And they just go on a tear.
Exactly. And then they go on a complete tear where everybody forgets they even started 0-2.
I'd love to see it. I really would. I feel better more times than not just leaning on Kansas City.
And I don't blame you. I'm going for my second week in a row of picking a gamble against Kansas City, and man, I love the thrill.
Yeah, I love the thrill.
I love the boost of.
I'll probably be rooting for Jacksonville.
I'm gonna be rooting for Jacksonville, and I want them to win. But I would not be surprised at all if the final score is Kansas City above Jacksonville.
Fair enough.
That being said,
I think this game's going to be like 31-29, 31-30,
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
very possible. Very possible.
If Trevor Lawrence and the Jags win this game, that's a pretty nice statement for them.
Yeah, and I would also say if Trevor Lawrence wins this game, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Fair enough. To me, the other part of this is I view Jacksonville as like the AFC's version of Detroit.
Okay.
I think they are just a cut below the Super Bowl contenders, and they're a year away from actually being among them.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
All right, up next, Indianapolis goes to Houston to take on the Texans. I'm going to take the Colts.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts too. So we're right back onto it.
Oh, God. I
So
mean,
you're picking Atlanta.
I think I probably will have to. Indianapolis, I just think Anthony Richardson looked good enough to hang in with the Jaguars. He's good enough to hang in with the Texans.
That's exactly.
D'Amico Ryans could coach a defense that messes with them,
Yep.
but they're more talented than Houston. And him being able to just be an athlete and run the ball lowers the floor raises the floor for him.
Mm-hmm.
Where if D'Amico Ryans confuses him, he can just run.
Yep.
And I think that we're probably going to see something like that where they're just going to kind of bully ball the Texans.
Yep. I think that's how I see this going as well. Indianapolis looked relatively competent against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Granted, one of them was that fumble return, so 14, 21 points, debatable. But personally, Houston is just a little bit further back in their rebuild than Indianapolis is. Indianapolis has some solid pieces in Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, DeForest Buckner, Kenny Moore. There's more solid pieces and proven pieces for the Indianapolis Colts that I think Anthony Richardson can kind of rely on, and especially against a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud, who looks a little bit more green than Anthony Richardson does look. So I'm going to give it to Indianapolis, but I could very well see this being just a total flip of the coin of which rookie quarterback shows up more solidly. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see, but I have a little bit more faith in the Colts and what they did last week. Michael Pittman had a great stat line of, I think, over 100 yards. So I think if you kind of get your playmakers involved against it's D'Amico Ryans-led defense, and they definitely got some pieces coming in that are solid, and Will Anderson and, Derek Stingley, we'll see what he can prove. But I do think that this is something that the Colts kind of run away with. Well, not run away with, but it's a little bit an easier path to victory for the Colts than the Texans.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I don't know. I just think Houston's going to have to steal some wins, and they could steal one against a division team.
Oh, yeah. It's totally possible. Especially at home.
Yeah, I just don't think it's likely.
I'm not picking it, but it's possible.
Up next, the 49ers go to LA to take on the Rams. The 49ers are going to win.
Yeah.
They tend to own the Rams. Unless the Rams are just way better than literally anybody thinks.
Yeah.
There is no logical reason to pick the Rams.
Yeah, Puka just ends up being the man.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. I got San Fran. It's super simple, super easy. I don't think the Rams are better than what they obviously had a great week last week, but that we had the conversation of they know the Seahawks.
They know the
very
Seahawks well, and the Seahawks might be overrated.
And the Seahawks might be overrated. This is not an overrated team in San Francisco. This is a very much proven Super Bowl contender.
This is a team that's beat the better version of the Rams.
Yes. So I would, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to dance around it.
It would take something shocking from San Francisco and not the Rams for this to lose. This to not go right.
If San Francisco doesn't win, they had their week 1 on week 2.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, the Giants go to Arizona in another thrilling matchup.
So excited for this one.
I'm not going to talk much about this. I'm not picking the Cardinals at all this year. I'm going with the Giants. Until I see the Cardinals do something crazy, I'm not picking them.
Yeah, I'm picking the Giants as well. I mean, this one's just super easy. I feel like the Giants' defense is about to have a field day against Josh Dobbs and nobody else in Arizona. I think it's kind of a bounce-back game for the Giants, but...
I think it's just going to be low scoring.
Yeah, it's going to be... They win the game because they're just a better team than the Cardinals, but to be fair, my high school football team was a better team than the Cardinals, so...
Yeah.
It's truly just give me this one, and if we're wrong and the Giants lose, then congrats, Giants. You're well on your way to.
Then you've really verified you're regressing.
Your regression is completely guaranteed. You basically signed Blake Bortles 2.0.
Yep.
And enjoy your.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
though,
enjoy your new quarterback. So.
All right. The Jets go to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. A week ago, this was an interesting game.
Yes.
Dallas is going to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, a week ago, we could have had.
I would have probably picked, based on how week 1 went, I probably would have picked the Jets because whenever Dallas has a huge win, they always have a come down.
Yeah.
But given the situation, and that the Jets' O-line's not good, they're facing Zach Wilson. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to hunt.
Yep.
It's going to be so bad.
Yeah, it's crazy how Dallas is just taking down New York in the first 2 weeks.
New York's almost never. New York almost never has good teams.
No, and even Buffalo is hanging in there. But as we talked about yesterday, they're missing a couple pieces to be truly elite. Yeah, I had to pick Dallas. I got the Jets defense in one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm kind of worried about it, to be completely honest with you, just because how often is that offense going to be on the field?
I won't worry about them till later in the year.
No, I'm going to stick with them because they are a very talented group.
I've got them in our fantasy league.
Yep, and Robert Saleh is good.
Yeah, no, he's very good.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of a situation of, until the offense looks so inept that defense is on the field for 80% of their plays.
Yeah.
I will not.
I think the Jets' defense, even this, I think they can stop the bleeding per se.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to stop the Cowboys' offense.
No.
Like,
and
CeeDee Lamb will probably. I won't even say CeeDee Lamb's going to get shut down by Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner doesn't move around. The Jets don't switch their corners.
Yep.
It's sort of how Seattle used to do it, where Sauce plays the left side, DJ Reed plays the right side. Dallas sometimes just puts CeeDee Lamb in the slot.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody else on the Jets that's going to cover him.
I mean, I guess Jordan Whitehead.
No.
But yeah, he's...
What happened last week is not Jordan Whitehead being some elite coverage safety. He's never had 3 picks in a season before.
There's a reason why he was offered money for 3 picks.
Yeah, because they didn't think he was going to.
Yeah.
But
hell of a weak one. But
yeah, so I don't know. I think that Dallas can run. Dallas has weapons.
Yep.
It's enough to give the Jets defense problems.
Yep.
And that
the
Jets
problems
offense.
the offense can't make up.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Garrett Wilson might be good. Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore are also good.
Yep.
Plus, you get to send Micah Parsons after Zach Wilson instead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to go well.
I'm not... Again, a week ago we could have had a debate. This week it's very simple.
It's going to be bad.
It's going to be Dallas, and it just depends on how bad they're going to win. And again, now that we picked Dallas, they're going to have their down week, and Zach Wilson's going to have 4 touchdowns. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, up next, the Commanders go to Denver to take on the Broncos. I'm going to take Denver. I just don't... I maintain the same thing as I do with the Raiders. I'm not fully sold in on the Commanders.
I'm not either. I was thinking about just saying Washington just to be different.
Just do it.
I don't believe that though. I don't. That would be me sacrificing my potential record for this week just to.
I'm gonna sacrifice it with Atlanta.
All right. Well, if you go Atlanta, I'll go Washington.
Yeah. I'm gonna be sacrificing it.
All right. I'm a Commanders guy.
And by the way, you might feel better about picking somebody to beat Denver than I do about Atlanta just popping up.
I'm absolutely fine with picking. Well, here's the thing: is Denver really shouldn't have lost last week. So
no, but my thing is, if the Cardinals can hang in, the Broncos should hang in because the Broncos are better at everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, is Chase Young playing this week? And even if he is, we still don't exactly know what that brings.
Yeah.
I just don't think. I don't know. I'm not.
You know what? I'll go with Washington, and here's where I'm gonna come up with my idea. I'm spitballing.
Here's why.
Here's why. Jacoby Myers, 2 touchdowns as a wide receiver 2. So Pat Surtain is going to lock down Terry McLaurin because that's what Pat Surtain does.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson's going to have a breakout game. He's going to win against their number 2 corner. I don't remember who it is.
I want to say it's like Mathis.
Possibly. He's going to have a 2 touchdown game, maybe 90-ish, 100 yards.
Yeah.
And the Broncos defense isn't going to have an answer for Sam Howell, and because they just don't know him well enough. I think the Broncos defense is definitely good, and they're going to give him some trouble. But seeing as Jacoby Myers was able to take advantage of the other side of the ball.
For perspective on the Broncos' number 2 corner, it is Mathis. It is Damari Mathis, and he graded out 92nd out of 92 cornerbacks last week.
Jahan Dotson is about to
where Patrick Surtain graded out.
Start Jahan Dotson.
I don't know. You know what I might do if I was them? I'd be like, all right, Surtain, you are going to go and take out number 2, and we're going to put Mathis and a safety over McLaurin.
I don't think that's a bad idea. Very possible Vance Joseph has that mentality.
That's what the Patriots used to always do.
Not a bad idea.
Their number 1 corner goes on the number 2 receiver, take him out, and then double 1.
Yeah.
And limit him.
Assuming that doesn't happen. Jahan Dotson's going to have a field day. And I'm going to go with Washington wins by 3 points in a very disappointing start to the season for the Broncos. Sean Payton is going to have a field day screaming in
Russell Wilson is benched after week 2, according to you.
Would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Jared Stidham season, baby.
He wasn't even the problem week 1, but that's all right.
No, he wasn't. And he probably won't be the problem this week either.
No, the problem this week, if there's going to be a problem, it would be the same thing. The Denver receivers aren't healthy enough to make the difference they need.
When you have Lil Jordan Humphrey as your wide receiver, too,
we're having a time.
We're having an interesting experience. So, Jerry Jeudy is definitely going to be needed on this team. When Jerry Jeudy comes back, I have a feeling that this offense will be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton is just not who he was before that injury a couple years ago, and it's very much showing they need a true, legit wide receiver 1 over there. They don't have a tight end. I know everybody in fantasy circles was talking about Greg Dulcich as a sleeper, especially with Alberto being traded. I don't see it. The guy is a mediocre tight end who is getting open because Sean Payton is available.
Hey, that works.
Makes it work, and he's not anything super special.
He's open, throw it.
Yeah, so I would say, to be strictly different, because I did have Denver winning, I'm going to go with Washington pulling this one off. Sam Howell has a great week. Jahan Dotson turns my fantasy team around. Thank God. And we catch 2 touchdowns, have a great breakout game, and that was a good pick on my end.
There you go. All right, Sunday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins go to New England and take on the Patriots. This game will be lower scoring than people think, but Miami still wins.
I got Miami.
If I don't see Buffalo shape up in the next 2 weeks, I'm picking Miami to win the division.
Fair enough. I am going to go ahead and have Miami as well. This New England team is a lot better than it was last year, and that's just strictly because it is hard to be better than last year. They obviously have an offensive identity now that they have an OC, which is a great start, believe it or not.
Nice job, guys.
Yeah. Interesting that that Juju Smith-Schuster is basically riding the bench. So there goes the wide receiver.
Well, I mean, apparently his knee's just bound to explode.
Well,
what the hell's that?
When I heard that, I was like, "What the?"
What do you mean? What do you mean? It's like going to? If it's gonna do that, can we just operate on it now?
Yeah, it's like why are we even having the conversation of ticking time bomb? Why not sending the bomb squad? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
what are we doing?
I have no idea what that even fucking means. It feels like something it sounds like something somebody would say at a corporate softball tournament. Be like, oh yeah, my knee's gonna explode at any moment. And it's like, that's fine. You're 45, Jim. Like, makes sense that and you're out of shape. Makes sense that your knee would, be on its last legs. But
yeah,
Juju Smith-Schuster is supposed to be an elite athlete. What is he? 26, 28?
I think he's closer to 28. Let's look real quick, shall we?
It's like, dude, first of all, you're getting paid to be on the roster. I would go get my knee taken care of as quickly as possible.
Juju Smith-Schuster, he's 26, yeah.
Okay, so, man, I'm really good at guessing players' ages.
He feels older.
He does feel older than I feel like he's been around for a while, but 26 makes sense for the TikTok star. So personally, I don't have a lot of faith in New England, although I did see a lot of improvement last week, with the exception of that just awful interception. We'll see.
I picked this just out of from the start of the year. Again, I've been higher on this team than you. I just have faith in Miami.
Miami is too good when they're healthy with Mike McDaniels to not win this game.
Yep.
So I can't.
Unless you're telling me Bill Belichick is that damn good a defensive coach, which he might be. He's done this before.
And he might be.
Unless you're telling me he is that damn good that all of a sudden Miami is just going to get shut down. Because I think for New England to win, they need to keep games around the 25-point range. Mm-hmm. Or ideally like the 20-point range, which is possible to do. But, God damn, you'd have to do something special.
I do think
Matt Judon would have to go off rushing the passer.
Yeah. So, and here's what I'm going to say. I counted out New England last week against Philadelphia too, and they were able to keep Philadelphia relatively in check. If it's not for that pick six, like we talked about yesterday,
they might have won.
They might have won. Might have been 23-18 in favor of New England.
Yep.
So what I will say is, I'm going to go, kind of in the way that you do it and say this could be one of those wild games where something crazy does happen and New England is able to just stump Miami.
Yeah.
But I am not going to pick that, and I'm more comfortable picking Miami to do what Miami does.
Yep. I'm like I said, I'm cool with the Patriots in a lot of ways. I picked that they would play Philly close but lose. Mm-hmm. I think that this will be a little further out of reach for them than the Philly game. But I don't think that Miami's just going to be running up and down the field like they were on the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that way as well, but I also don't think that New England's offense is going to be anything super special. Again, who knows? This could be one of those wild games. I put a check by it just to keep that in mind. But we'll see. I'm more comfortable picking Miami though.
All right. New England, sorry.
We're back on New England.
We're back on New England, yeah. No, Monday Night Football, New Orleans goes to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I've maintained this all year. The rookie quarterbacks will probably start a bit slower. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that New Orleans capitalizes on that trend and they beat Carolina.
Okay. Well, I got New Orleans as well. Big surprise. We are riding on the same train.
Going to need you to take the Browns next.
No chance. For last week. So I got New Orleans strictly because, again, Bryce Young figuring out the NFL. This is a new Carolina team that's kind of finding its legs. New Orleans a little bit more established. Chris Olave looked great. I think the offense will be a little bit more functional, especially because when you're only really defending against Brian Burns, hopefully, Derek Carr can be a little bit more comfortable in that pocket. Not saying that Brian Burns is not going to do what Brian Burns does best, but I will say it's a lot better than, you know what? I'm not going to say that.
Thinks about it?
Assuming that the O-line can step it up just a little bit and give Derek Carr some time, this should be a pretty cut and dry situation for New Orleans.
Yeah.
Beat the rookie quarterback. That being said, Brian Burns is a game wrecker. Brian Burns could absolutely rattle the hell out of Derek Carr, and as I said yesterday, Derek Carr is the same quarterback that he was for the Raiders, for the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
If you rattle him, you have a chance at winning that football game. Now, the only caveat to that is that New Orleans defense is better than the Raiders defense typically is, minus Max Crosby.
They're better.
Yeah, so I will comfortably say New Orleans pulls this one off because Bryce Young will struggle a little bit, being a rookie. That's normal. He'll figure it out, hopefully. And I got Chris Olave on my fantasy team, so I need the offense to be good.
There you go. Fair enough.
A little bias on my point, but.
All right, so I'm going to, also take New Orleans just because I've been on this position all offseason. Mm-hmm. That early in the year, New Orleans would beat Carolina.
Yep.
Okay, Cleveland goes to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. This is a more interesting game than most people would probably think. I think both these teams have a pretty good chance to win this game.
Say it. Do it.
No, I have a hard time seeing Pittsburgh dropping both of these first 2 home games. Cleveland's capable of it. They're capable of beating most teams. I'm not going to pick them to, though. I mean, Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith could definitely tee off.
That is the one.
And
thing
if that happens, it's a problem.
That's what I'm thinking
The
about.
Steeler defense, even though Christian McCaffrey ran wild on them, that's not a common occurrence.
Yeah, that's.
I think that's sort of the 49ers throw a lot at you. You have to. They're like notorious for having the most like complex run scheme to defend.
Mm.
They offer a little bit more than most, and I think the Browns are also. This is specifically just the running styles like Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is more likely to make you whiff a tackle.
Mm.
Nick Chubb is going to try to break it. And I think the Steelers don't tend to miss as much when somebody's looking to hit them.
Yep.
So,
Which is fair.
I could see Cleveland winning this. But I just have faith that Mike Tomlin's going to get the Steelers right. And it's just as likely T.J. Watt ruins a game as it is Myles Garrett. I'm going to go Pittsburgh, but damn, is Cleveland live to take that.
This could very well be a coin flip.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm going.
So flip it.
All right, well, let's do this actually. Let's see who I'm rolling with right now.
Flips a coin.
Heads will be Pittsburgh. Yeah, tails will be Cleveland. Hey Siri, flip a coin. It's heads. All right, I'm going Pittsburgh. All right.
All right,
so
I'm
I'm
going
rolling with Pittsburgh. So I was actually going to go with Pittsburgh before I decided to flip a coin on it. But I will also agree with you. I think Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett together are completely nasty.
It's a problem.
Definitely a problem. The league is going to have to deal with that. It is.
Do you think Myles Garrett crosses anybody up this time or what?
Maybe. I mean, he could. Like, the dude.
Maybe he'll do it every week.
It might just be a thing at this point. But Myles Garrett looked great last week. Big surprise. He's one of the best defensive ends in the league.
Top two.
Top 2, easily. I'm very. That's the one thing that makes me nervous about this for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Steelers have a good defense, and here's my counter to, all right, yes, it's probably going to be a low-scoring game because Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith will scare the shit out of Kenny Pickett, scare the shit out of me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the fact that, yes, it was raining. Yes, it was rough weather conditions for both offenses last week, but Deshaun Watson did not look as good as he should now that he's got this shit sort of figured out. He's been with the team enough. He obviously did not get a ton of preseason reps, but he did play in the preseason. I am going to go ahead and give this to Pittsburgh. I think Kenny Pickett and George Pickens make some connections, make some magic happen. Deontay Johnson is out, so that does...
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to choose to be different than you. I'm going to take Cleveland.
Okay. I don't blame you.
I'm just looking at sort of Cam Hayward's out. Their corners are not awesome, and Amari Cooper is good enough.
Yep.
Not to mention with the the Steelers tackles, dude. Their offense. Some of this could just be playing San Francisco. That entire line, nobody graded higher than 26th at their position last week.
I'm gonna roll with my coin flip.
Do it. I'm just saying, without Cam Hayward, I have a lot more questions about how they stopped the run.
Perfectly acceptable.
And then, as you mentioned, also Deontay Johnson being out.
Yep.
Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome are good enough when you pair them with Zadarius Smith and Myles Garrett. I'm just gonna go with that, but and also I really want to be. We need a few more differences.
We do. So this is our third difference.
Damn, dude, that'd be awesome. I don't feel great about it, but I don't feel great picking either of these two teams. They could both do it. Yep. So I'm gonna roll with Cleveland just on being different.
That's fair, and I will roll with Pittsburgh on my coin flip, as well as.
This is the year where nobody saw it coming. The Cleveland Browns win the AFC North.
Oh god, that made me vomit.
Yeah, you would not be thrilled.
Not in this latest. But yeah, so I will. I think Pittsburgh has a chance to win this. They are down a couple of pieces, and the offense did not really inspire after last week. But again, I'm gonna roll off of the week 1 against San Francisco. Tough for any team to come in there and look good.
Not what you want.
So I will go ahead and give Pittsburgh a little bit of breathing room. Definitely need to see them be better.
Yeah.
Matt Canada's offense does not inspire in the slightest.
Yeah.
Um,
God, it's in Pittsburgh too.
I'm
just gonna stick with Cleveland.
I'll roll with Mike Tomlin. On this.
That's what I want to roll with so badly, but I also really am just. We can't have the same goddamn pick.
At least there's a little bit of parity.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. Ultimately for this week, I've picked Philadelphia, Atlanta, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Detroit, the Chargers, the Buccaneers, Chiefs, Colts, Niners, Giants, Cowboys, Broncos, Dolphins, Saints, Browns.
Yeah, only difference I got is I'm taking Green Bay over Atlanta.
Yeah.
I am taking Washington over Denver, and I'm taking Pittsburgh over Cleveland.
You're also taking Jacksonville over Kansas City.
And Jacksonville over Kansas City. So yes, we have four.
We have 4 different.
There we go.
Yeah, we have 4 that are different.
A quarter of the slate we're a little bit different on.
All right, I can live with that.
I can live with that. I'm sure after a couple of the early weeks,
It's gonna be a damn shame where really we're gonna get all the ones that we picked together.
Yep.
That's the ones where we're gonna be wrong.
Yep.
We'll see. Week 2's weird. I think that week 2 is where you start to really learn more about teams. A couple of these matchups I don't feel awesome about, but we'll see.
We will see.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the video, and tune in next week for reviews and more picks. And hopefully everybody has a great second week of football. Hopefully, nobody gets their Achilles blown out in the 4th play of the game this week.
We would hate that.
So
we would absolutely hate that.
there you go. All right. Appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.